Here we go. Welcome to Winning Begins at Home. Glad you're with us today. Excited to continue this, what we're calling Mental Health Week. And I'll just put my same precursor on it that I did yesterday. I'm not a mental health expert, but I think some of the things we're talking about this week really could be beneficial to any of you who out there that are struggling with anxiety, depression, any kind of mental health, high stress situations. And the latest study I saw shows that about 1 in 3 people really struggling with this. So if you're not, there's a good chance that some of the people around, the other 2 people with you probably are. They've got some, or at least one of the other 2 people with you probably is. We've got some people that are really struggling. I think we all can relate to this in some way, because it truthfully, life, it really can be hard. And I know it's a lot harder for some people than it is others. There's certainly circumstances that are just so hard. It's almost unbearable. But for all of us, there are areas that are hard. And so I just want to acknowledge right out the gate here that things are hard for pretty much everybody. You got something in your life that's probably hard. Now, I heard years ago there are a couple of different kinds of hard, and I want to talk about those today and just sort of build on what we talked about yesterday. And so let's think about this. There's either doable hard, or there's destructive hard. Doable hard is something that you actually can do, right? It's something that's hard, but it is doable. And there's some benefits from doable hard. And people have learned to do hard things. They've been able to do hard things. They've developed the skill to do hard things. I was listening to my wife earlier today play the piano. Really cool to be. I was sitting out on the porch, kind of in my back porch, what I call my back porch office there, and I heard her in there playing the piano. And to me, I was really thankful that she didn't give up in the beginning when it was probably hard for her. I actually, as a kid, I had my little piano lessons as well, and it was doable hard, but it got hard, and I decided to go and to play baseball instead. And so I'm not quite as skilled on the piano as she is, because I gave up when it got doable hard. I gave up and I chose to do something else. And so some of you are going through some hard stuff right now, and you might tie back into what we talked about yesterday. I sort of quoted Ernie Johnson from Inside the NBA a couple of weeks ago. I heard him talking about on a documentary. He said there are 3 things that we can control. We can control our attitude. Sometimes we're in the middle of something hard that is doable hard if we just have the right attitude, and we have persistence in some of that. And so if you're going through something hard right now and your attitude's not right, don't give up just because you got a bad attitude. Let's change our attitude. And maybe the second thing Ernie said we can control, remember he said we can control how hard we work. And so thankfully, Laura kept working hard, and she can play the piano. And the first thing when the grandkids come, they want her to play the piano for them. It's always cool to hear that. And so you may be going through something right now, and you're tempted to give up. You're trying to upskill maybe something at work. We don't usually talk about work here, but maybe there's something at work you're working on outside of work. You're trying to take a class, or maybe working on a degree. Don't give up just because something is hard. It might be doable hard. But I want to talk today for a second about the other side of hard, and that's what I would call destructive hard. And again, I didn't come up with this. Somebody I heard years ago talk about this idea, but I thought it really resonated with me, because I think all of us can relate to places where the hard in our life becomes it's actually undoable or unsustainable over the long haul. And I'm not talking about piano lessons here, or something you're trying to, go get a degree. That's not, we're talking here destructive thought patterns, or an attitude that is toxic, and maybe a relationship that is just draining so much of life out of you. Now, I'm assuming the people that you live with are people that you wanted to live with at some point. And I think relationships can get really hard. We talk about winning begins at home here. It's so easy to not put in the work that we need to in those relationships. And then they can become destructive and toxic and all those things. So I'm not saying give up on the relationship at all if it's destructive hard, but you've got to change the patterns in there. Maybe you need to change the tone of voice. Maybe you need to sit down and have a meeting and have a conversation about it. Maybe you need some counseling. I'm not really sure what you would need, but I'm just telling you, you can't continue down the path you're going if you're going to experience the life that relationship could be giving you. And And if you value those relationships, ending the relationship is probably not the best thing. And so what do you need to do to make sure that you can get to a place where that relationship really can be life-giving again? And so this idea of destructive hard, I think is a good reminder. So if you've got places in your life, things are becoming destructive hard, I would encourage you to end that, whatever it is. Now, if it's your relationship with your spouse or whatever, ending it is probably not the best thing. What is the best thing is to end the pattern, to end the behavior, the rhythm, the habits that you have, whatever. You're going to have to give some focus to that if you're going to change that. And I say all the time, different is not always better. It's not. Sometimes you're doing things that if and they're working great, that's great. Keep doing what you're doing. But better is always going to be different. And so if you're going to make that relationship better, it is going to require a change, probably from both of you. And so I want to just encourage you, if you've got a destructive, hard situation, relationship, pattern in your life, maybe it's even an addictive behavior. I know some people who are really struggling, they're addicted to some stuff, and their life is just not working the way they want it to. And they know that if they continue down this path, it's gonna continue to be destructive hard. And so I wanted to introduce this language today: doable hard or destructive hard. I think it's maybe as you look at some of the stuff in your life, there's some places where you need to push through. It is doable. It'll create perseverance and resilience and capacity in you to be even better than you are if you'll just continue to push. You might make beautiful music like my wife does, but for some of you, there's some stuff that's destructive right now. And I want to encourage you to get some help, to give up what it is that you're holding on to, and believe that your best days really can be ahead. I think one of the things that is true about mental health issues, stress, anxiety, depression, any of that stuff, is the fact that there's so many things that we actually do have control over that we don't take the right steps. So I hope today you'll take a step toward what maybe could be even a lot easier than it is right now. And if you'll do that, I think you're going to be proud of yourself, and the people around you are going to be as well. And it's going to benefit everybody in your family, in your sphere of influence. You guys are leaders who listen. I hope you'll continue to think about this doable hard versus destructive hard. All right. We've got another little layer to this conversation tomorrow. I hope you'll join us for that. Continue to share with your friends and family. We'll see you tomorrow on Winning Begins at Home. Love you guys.